And I'm Ruth Inman.
And we are here representing Social Media Pulse at Social Media Day Wichita in Wichita, Kansas. So we're about halfway through the day. Ruth, tell me, you haven't been to Social Media Day Wichita before. I have. Tell me how you're enjoying the day so far.
Oh my gosh, the best day, the best speakers so far, and I know it's just going to continue to be amazing all day. The energy is great. We are talking about personal branding, and everyone has been on point. The coffee has been good. You know I'm a fan of the coffee.
Very, very important.
Very, very good. And it has just been wonderful. So glad to be here.
So glad to have you here. And so we're going to be talking to some people here who are here with us at Social Media Day Wichita and find out kind of what they're excited about today and what they're excited about in general when it comes to social media. So first up, we're going to bring on my very good friends who also happens to be a Social Media Pulse contributor and part of our community crew, also one of the organizers of Social Media Day Wichita and a speaker at Social Media Day Wichita. Let's bring on Ms. Jen Cole. Come on down. Yay! Let me click my little button here.
Hello, everyone. This is so much fun.
Yay!
Yeah.
So Jen, tell us, so what are you excited about today?
Oh my gosh. You know that I'm always just so excited about the people. The people are my favorite thing. I mean, I love the learning. I absolutely, and I get so much out of events like this. But today, for me, it really is just, it's about being around all of these amazing people.
I love that. So now you are speaking, and you have worked in various facets of social media. You've worked for an agency, you run an agency, you worked with all sorts of clients. Right now you are in B2B social media. So tell us what you're most interested in learning about with social media right now in general.
I think for me, I would like to really focus on more polished tones of voice because I'm where I've come from has been fun and la la la, and it's all about building community because I'm Jen Cole, and now it's we're gonna sell some airplanes, or we're gonna teach you why having this kind of certification is the only way to make your airplane fly worthy, and things like that. Like, I need to polish things up, and so I have really learned a lot so far in my new position at Gredeman Group is where I work, and I'm continuing to just really learn. It's a whole new language that I'm learning, and so that is my focus. Copywriting right now is my focus, for sure.
Awesome. Now you're going to be speaking this afternoon, actually right after a lunch. So tell us a little bit about what you're speaking about today.
Well, I'm going to be doing just how to build a social media strategy to advance your brand. So we're going to be talking about everything that really goes into having a successful social media strategy. Everything from, hey, have you set goals, to, hey, have you thought about what you want your messaging to consistently be? Have you thought about your look and feel? Are you checking your analytics to make sure that you're being successful? And if not, do you know how to tweak things? So it's going to cover a lot of stuff.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question on behalf of our online audience who isn't here today. Can you give a little bit of a sneak peek about some of the truth bombs that you're going to lay on us today during that presentation?
Okay, I'm going to give you the one truth bomb that I just added in today. And, people always talk about how TikTok is so young. TikTok skews so young. I'm on TikTok all the time, and I'm not exactly young, and I see people that are way older than me on TikTok, and so I'm starting to, honestly, in my own opinion, I'm starting to believe that everyone has a space on TikTok. Whether you're entertaining or you're educating or you're just there to show off your pretty plants, I believe you do truly have a space on TikTok. Just take some time to find it.
Yeah, I love that. It might not be as natural to somebody who isn't as young, but there is room. I love that perspective.
There is room. Absolutely.
Awesome. And for those of you who are not on the virtual ticket and who are not here in Wichita, I happen to have insider intel that Agora Pulse is going to be live tweeting your presentation. So check out Agora Pulse on Twitter just after 1 Central Time. All right. So check that out. And yeah, thank you so much, Jen Cole. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Jen Cole ICT on Twitter and Instagram, and Jen Cole Community on Facebook.
Great. We're going to bring in our next guest now.
Thank you so much, Jen. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have Jennifer Herring. She is a project manager, but she and I were chatting a little bit before this, and she does a little bit more than just project management at Gredeman Group. And we're really excited to have you with us here today. So I kind of gave a little bit of a spoiler there, but tell me, what do you do day to day?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. So I am the project manager at Gredeman Group, and I basically tell everyone how to do everything. And I task it out for them down to the 15-minute. And, now I'm not doing the strategy behind those things that we are doing, but when the client comes in and says, we want to do this, or the brand manager comes in and says, this is what the plan is, then I'm the one that says, okay, this is how we're going to make this happen. I also do a lot of operational things for Gredeman Group. So, everything from like figuring out what our phone system is going to be to, working with freelancers and how that's going to work. That's actually a big part of why I am here today and what I'm excited about. I think that was the next question, actually.
That is. That's great.
Okay. Yes. So that's a big part of why I'm here. We love being a part of the community and being involved with a lot of nonprofits and just things that make our heart sing. And so that's one portion of it, and getting to connect with those people. The other portion is, as things are growing and moving and what people are looking for in the industry, it seems to be leaning more towards freelance. A lot of people who are coming out of college or just starting their career, it's not like it used to be. They are not looking for just, salary jobs. A lot of them are looking for flexibility and freelance. And so seeing what's out there and even what type of freelance, like it's not just, maybe it's one person who does 5 different things, or maybe it's a person that does one thing. So connecting with those people are what I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's one of the things for me as somebody who's new to this event that yes, we all work in social. We're all comfortable online. We're all comfortable digitally, but connecting in real time with real people is so special. And that's why days like today, that not only the event here, but events that are happening worldwide today are so great for the social media industry, in my opinion.
So I had a question for you, Jennifer. So obviously, your job may not directly involve doing social media, but you're here at Social Media Day. As someone who's involved in sort of a B2B corporate situation, what do you think is most important for that audience and for you when it comes to social media skills and learnings?
Well, I think that the thing we are seeing from a B2B standpoint is that social media is really the new PR, and so for the clients that we are doing press releases and all that for them, but there's also who are the main people at the company that need to be representing themselves out on social media, and how should they be represented? I think one of the sessions today was like building your personal brand, but it still being okay with your company. So that was a session that I am very interested in. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but anyway.
All good. It's an overwhelming day. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you so much for being part of putting Social Media Day Wichita together. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Well, I think for the most part, I'm going to say go follow us at Gredeman Group, because they did let me come here today. So that, that works out. Go follow Gredeman Group. And we'll just go with that.
I love it. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
If you could send to the next person.
Yeah. All right.
Meantime, we're going to chat a little bit. Ruth, what are you most excited to learn about today?
Well, yeah, my wheels were spinning a little bit as Jennifer was talking, and one of the things that I have focused on in my career has been more of that B2B or B2C type of social media. By nature, I'm a pretty private person. I think I have a personal brand. My personal brand is not probably as strong as your personal brand, but, thinking about the personal branding perspective and how you can represent both yourself, the work you do, the passion you have as a complete person. It's really nice to dive into that for a full day. What about you?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, like Jen Cole, I'm excited about the people. I keep saying that for someone who has spent their entire life within 2 hours of New York City, I know a staggering number of people in Wichita, Kansas. So I'm happy to see these great people again. And I love that the theme today is personal branding. I was actually the first speaker today talking about personal branding. And personal branding is something I care a lot about. One of the things I cared about when I came to this position with Social Media Pulse and Agora Pulse is that I knew I wouldn't have to give that up. They value that. They want us to develop relationships, develop networks, develop our own professional reputations. And so I love the fact that everyone's talking about that. And even though I swim in personal branding all the time, I always can learn something. There's always something to learn when I go to an event. So I'm excited about that. And I'm really excited to meet more people who can be contributors to Social Media Pulse, because we need people from all sorts of different perspectives to come into our community and not only connect with each other, but also, teach other people either in Pulse Academy or via written articles, video interviews. So places like this are a great place to corral some more experts who can then benefit the Social Media Pulse community. In fact, if you could take the mic for a minute, I gotta go track down some of those experts who were waiting outside a minute ago and have disappeared. Let's do it. So tell them what we've been seeing today.
I will do that. So I am going to brag on Christine in her absence, so she'll have to come back and watch the replay. But for those who are watching online, one of my favorite takeaways from Christine's presentation this morning about personal branding was kind of twofold. She said there's two ways to shed light on something. You can either be the candle or you can be the mirror that reflects it. And that is something that Christine does really, really well. Christine is neither of those things. She's neither a candle nor a mirror. Christine is a disco ball. And Christine likes to shine a big, shiny light on the cool things other people are doing. And today's live stream is an example of that. We get to talk about Social Media Pulse, but also say, hey, if you're an expert in a certain area, please come share that expertise in our community. And that's what we're getting ready to do. So with that said, let's have our next guest hop on in.
Yes, in fact, our next guest kind of saved my bacon a little bit, because I was talking about how I'm a disco ball, and yet the disco ball I was going to bring didn't fit in my carry-on. Thankfully, as I mentioned, I got friends in Wichita, one of whom provided the disco ball, and she is a small business owner in Wichita, so we wanted to get her perspective here as well. Let's welcome Stacy Ward Latin from Hopping Gnome Brewery. Come on down.
All right. Snug up on in here.
Yes.
This is a fun room.
All right. So tell us, Stacy, what do you do? What's your deal?
Yeah. So I don't know. Am I looking in the camera?
You're looking wherever you
Yeah.
want.
So I own a small microbrewery and tap room here in Wichita called Hopping Gnome Brewing with my husband. He does the brewing and I do everything else. So I do events and marketing and social media. So that's why I'm here today at Social Media Day.
Awesome. So what are you hoping to get out of the day? What are you hoping to learn?
Yeah, so I'm really interested in the personal branding topic, because it's hard as a small business owner. And I think a lot of times for women in general, you sort of, who you think you are is sometimes you by the hats that you wear. So if you're a mom, you're a working woman, you're a sister, you're a wife, or whatever it is, I think sometimes we get stuck in that. And I was thinking about this actually during your presentation about how I've defined myself and like, who am I? And it's like you define yourself by those things. And I've always been I have a nonprofit background. And so anywhere I've ever worked, I've always like taken on that role. So I used to work at Girl Scouts. So I was like the Girl Scout person. I've always wore green. I like took cookies everywhere I went. Everybody loved me. So now I take beer everywhere I go, and people love that too.
People still love that, I'm sure. Yes.
But yeah, and I even have a tattoo of our HBIC beer label.
Oh, I love that.
Which Christine has a shirt, and it's always fun.
Beer.
It's a great brand. So I kind of take on that brand, or people call us the Gnomes, my husband and I, because it's called Hopping Gnome or whatever. But I think about, but who am I really? Those are obviously I'm good at branding myself as the owner of this particular business, but I also do other things, right? I'm on boards. I'm still involved with a lot of nonprofits. I do a lot of things in the community. I've done a podcast before. I've done, different things. So I think for me is just figuring out, and Christine's presentation really helped kind of start to get those wheels turning on how can I do a better job of personal branding, and what do I need without completely changing what I've been doing? How can I do a better job with that? And I think, we learned about storytelling, and then we're going to kind of get into the nitty gritty with some more hands-on things with the sessions this afternoon. So I'm just excited. It's been, a couple of years since we've been able to do a full day with something like this. And so I feel like we've all just been, with the start of the pandemic, it was like just, getting through survival mode. So I was constantly just posting, like we were doing to-go beer here while we were shut down. So it was like, we're here from this time to this time, order online. Yeah. And so we were just doing that for so long. We weren't really coming up with like new strategies. And I started doing TikTok this past year. So that's something new. So I'm always looking out for, and obviously we've all kind of transitioned to doing more videos, reels, things like that. So I think I'm just ready to learn some new things and to see what's next.
Great. Okay, I'm really curious, right? You have literally branded your body with the label from your beer. So that's a really great example of an intersection of a personal brand and your business brand. So tell me, where do those brand values overlap for you?
Yeah, so for me, and like I said, I have a background in nonprofit. I've done some marketing and some social media work in the past, and I'm just always very passionate about all the work that I've done in the community. And so I love craft beer, and while I love it, that's not where it is for me when it comes to the business. And that's my husband. He makes the beer and is just all about the beer, right? For me, it was all about the community, and that's what we decided we were going to open a small tap room, and we were going to bring that. We wanted it to be a community that people could come in. We wanted this culture of you can come as you are, and you don't have to be dressed a certain way. You don't have to be from a certain demographic to be able to be accepted into this space. Because we were one of the first, there were only a few breweries here when we opened. So we were one of the first small little tap room vibes that we've had here in Wichita, Kansas. So that was something that was really important to me. And the community. So what happened is that everybody just did it themselves. We didn't have to like push anybody to do anything. People started calling it the Gnome. We're going to go to the Gnome. People like Jen Cole would come in and just sit at the bar and not know anybody, and then would start having conversations and meet friends. And so I think that's a big part of it. So when I decided to get I actually decided to get the tattoo before we decided to make it a beer label, and it was a piece of art, because I love supporting local artists, a piece of art by my friend Johnny Freedom, and we have the piece of art hanging in our tap room. Decided to get it. I was like, can I get a tattoo of this? And he's like, that would be like the most amazing thing ever. And he also has a lot of tattoos. And then we decided to digitize the art and make it, and change it a little bit and make it our beer label. So I think that's just being a part of not only just Wichita is, we're a big enough city, but a lot of times people refer to Wichita as a big small town. And so being a part of that community, that small business community. And then breweries, it's not like this everywhere, but a lot of places, breweries are very like collaboration versus competition. We work together a lot. So we brew beer together. We help each other out. We do events together. So that's something that I think in a different type of industry that would be super cutthroat, or this is you can't know my trade secrets. I don't think I would do as well. I don't think my husband and I would do as well now. We like that collaborative effort. That's the only way we know how to do business. We didn't have a business background before, so I think just that creating those relationships and partnerships is just how we do things, and that's what gets me up every morning, and that's what I get excited about.
Oh my gosh, we are going to have to chat later, because in former life I was an academic and I actually did research about microbreweries, and that was one of the things that we learned, is so much about that collaborative nature and the hey, I'm going to lend you a cup of sugar, you're going to lend me a cup of flour type of thing. So when hearing you say that, I'm like, yes, that's what we found. So we can nerd out over that research that we did about branding in microbreweries.
Perfect. Yeah. And it's fun. I mean, beer is fun. It's happy. People are happy. It's fun. I follow lots of breweries on TikTok, and it's like when you talk about, some industries, they're like, oh, I just don't know there's no content. How do I tell my story? Well, that's not hard for us to do, because there's just always things going on. I do bug my husband sometimes and be like, can you pretend like you're doing something in the brew house? Because I want to add this to my reel, or I want to add and he's just like, I'm not doing anything. I was like, well, people don't know that. Or I do the same thing all the time. It's not interesting. Oh, it is interesting. I'm always having to explain that to everybody, and it's funny. But there's always something to share, and I think we all have to be creative wherever we work to make sure we can come up with content and tell those stories, and it is interesting to people because they aren't living it every day. Yeah,
I love that. While I go get our next guest, if you could tell the good folks at home where to find you.
Yeah. So we are located just east of downtown Wichita. We are at the intersection of Douglas and Hydraulic. Douglas is kind of the main drag here in Wichita. Historically, that was like where all the stores were, and where the trolley went. It's not a trolley anymore, but we call it the Q line, and it's a free. It's with our. Department of Transportation. It's a free bus. It's like a bus, but it's a free service that you can take and go up and down Douglas. So we encourage that. And we are open Tuesday through Sunday. And we don't serve food, but we partner with Piatto Neapolitan Pizzeria next door, and you can order pizza and they'll deliver. You can bring food in. We have an art show this Friday. I told you we love to support local artists. Lots of things happening. We have new beers and new events all the time, so definitely check us out. We're on all the social medias, and we're at Hopping Gnome, or check us out at hoppinggnome.com.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. I have not been able to peek around the corner to see who our next guest is, so I'm going to leave it up to you.
All right, our next guest, come on in. We have Holly Herring, who is no relationship to Jennifer Herring, who we saw earlier.
But I do know her, and we are friends.
Awesome. All right, so tell us a little bit about what you do, Holly.
Yeah, so I'm the marketing manager at Envision. Envision is a nonprofit here in Wichita and as well as in Dallas. We improve the quality of life for people who are blind or visually impaired locally and across the nation. So we do that through many different things of employment, education, outreach, rehab services, job placement, training services, a lot of different things.
Awesome. All right, so what brings you to Social Media Day Wichita? What are you hoping to learn today?
Yeah, so as a marketing manager, I manage all our social media channels in both Wichita and Dallas, but I also do public relations and manage our website content. So a lot of different hats, of course, working at a nonprofit. Yeah. So today I saw some of the sessions, and it's a lot about personal branding, and at first I was skeptical because I don't know if I need to build my personal brand. I know, yes, that's what I learned from your presentation this morning. I really appreciated it. So that is a big thing that I learned. Even though I'm working for a company, I still should really focus on that and be aware of it, and then it could be a huge asset for the future. So that's a big thing that I learned from your presentation. It was really great. And then, storytelling. I forget this last guy's name.
Chad E. Peterson.
Yes, right. Okay. I love storytelling. I mean, that's a big part of my job. So he inspired me too. So positive things so far.
Yeah, so speaking of storytelling, and I'm sure, yeah, with the type of mission that your nonprofit has, what are some of those stories that really stick out to you about the people that your organization helps and the mission that you have?
Yeah. So I've worked at Envision for just over a year now. And before this, I didn't really know anything about people who are blind or visually impaired. I didn't know, I don't think I knew anyone personally who had visual impairments. And I didn't know there's a whole spectrum. I didn't know that people have different eye diseases. And just everyone has a story to tell, is what I've learned. And there's a lot of misconceptions about it. So what I like to do a lot is just ask everyone who I meet who's blind or visually impaired to share their story. And, like I said, I manage the website and the blog, and I have people sometimes write their own story, and maybe I edit it or I ask them questions, but sharing from their perspective. I think that helps squash some misconceptions about people who are blind or visually impaired. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. Absolutely. Now, one thing that I know is thankfully gaining traction and more awareness is the idea of digital accessibility. Yeah. And I will admit, completely that a few years ago I was like, well, why would someone visually impaired be using Instagram? Mm-hmm. I didn't really get it. But of course, through following people like Alexa Heinrich, who you should totally check out if you don't already follow her, she's got a piece on there on Social Media Pulse, look it up, about digital accessibility. What are some things that you have learned? As you said, you didn't really work with the visually impaired community before now. What are some things that that you've learned and that you'd like to share with others regarding being accessible online?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because sometimes questions we get, and we always say to people, ask questions. That's fine. If you're wondering about something, totally ask the question. A lot of people ask, do blind people use computers? And we're like, yes, they do. Actually, the technology nowadays, they have screen readers that read a lot of stuff back to them. They use social media. I mean, they are people too. They're not a separate group that, they do things differently. So that's the one thing that they want to communicate to sighted people, is that they are people too. They do everything that we do. They just do it differently. So for us sighted people, to make it easier and more convenient and more inclusive of them, is to add alt text to all images on social media, is to describe things in your videos of what's going on, is to for graphics, use contrasting colors. If it's of a dark background, use a light text on it so it stands out and it's easier to read. There's a lot of things that we can do that are easy and that are built into all of these platforms that they've tried to focus on and to make it a priority, thankfully, that I think we should all be paying attention to, whether we work at a nonprofit who serves blind people or not. People who are blind is what I should say. They're people first.
Yes. Plus 1,000. I am not visually impaired, but accessibility is something that's really near and dear to my heart. We talk about it a lot and in our work and what we can do to make, because we're building a platform from the ground up. And so trying to build accessibility into that is something that's been really important to us and our team.
Yeah, and I will add, social media tools. The number one question I have is, can I add alt text to my images within the tool? And that is a super important thing. If that's not an option, then I will, immediately look the other way, because that is imperative, especially for me working at this nonprofit. But like I said, I think everyone should use it. We should be an inclusive society, no matter what.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Holly. Tell everyone where they can find you and your organization.
Yeah, so Envision, envisionus.com is our website. You'll learn all about us there. We have our blog on there that has a lot of great, just general information about people who are blind or visually impaired. But of course, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, at Help Envision. Follow us.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have, is Chrissy coming, or we have somebody else coming first? Okay, Chrissy first. Yeah. Are we coming in jointly? Come on. Let's squeeze in. Cuddle up, cuddle up, cuddle up. All right. So I'm going to hand it over to Christine for the introductions because I know, Chrissy, I know what you do, but I am at a loss for your title right now. So I'm going to come in closer. And
Well, Chrissy knows her title.
yeah, that's true. Chrissy does know her title. It is one of her many, many talents. So Chrissy, why don't you tell the folks at home what it is that you do at WSU Tech?
Yeah, I am the department chair for the digital marketing department. And am I supposed to send that over?
You're fine. I was telling her she knows.
Oh,
I'm out of frame.
Yeah.
We have so many friends in here.
We're very cuddly.
yes. I'm the department chair of the digital marketing program at WSU Tech. Yeah.
And who do you have with us today?
So this is what. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. This is one of my mentees over at ShockStarter, which is applied learning program on the university side. So it's at Wichita State University, and her name is.
My name is Becca Meyer, and I'm a marketing strategist at ShockStarter. And yeah, Chrissy is my social media mentor because I handle a lot of social media management for all of our clients.
That's great. So Chrissy, you're one of the organizers of Social Media Day Wichita. Thank you so much. And you, of course, brought your mentee. You brought several mentees. So I'd love to hear kind of what you're hoping they get out of today, and then I want to hear from you about what you're hoping to get out of today personally. But first, let's start with Chrissy. What are you hoping they get?
So I want them to learn about the importance of personal branding, but also at networking. Like, that's the biggest thing. That's how you get jobs, is by who you know, unfortunately. And so I was like, have fun, network, ask questions, be curious, and then learn lots of stuff. And so really, like, I want them to be hired by somebody by the end of the day.
Well, Social Media Pulse has a jobs board, just saying. All right, so now what are you personally, like, you've seen the schedule, you know what's happening, you know what the sessions are. What are you really excited to learn and develop today?
One of my favorite parts about this job is opportunities like this and being able to network. So I'm always excited to network and get to meet everyone and get to hear all of the speakers. Social media is really my jam. So hearing about how different people have found their journeys, their purposes, like in your speech, and different stories like that is what I'm most excited for. I'm most excited to kind of find someone to continue to look up to and to look towards when it comes to social media and when it comes to managing it. And not only that, but finding someone who can inspire me to find my purpose in my future careers.
Seeking a mentor, people, seeking a mentor. So you said social...
Of course, though.
Yes, of course. Got to keep Chrissy around. I met Chrissy a few jobs ago for both of us, and she's a good person to keep around. So you said social media is your jam. Why? What do you think is important about social media that made you want to do it professionally?
Social media is, the future of so many businesses. That's the reason we're all here. We all have a part in social media in our career some way or another. And I think having all of these people automatically shows how much social media plays a role in it. I love taking a business that may be kind of closed off or nervous to enter a community like the social media community and branching them out there and being creative and being transparent and showing all of the fun colors that a business truly is.
Love that. So now these are folks in academia. What do you want to talk to them about? What's your jam with that?
Yeah, so what do you think, Chrissy, I'm going to pitch this one to you. What do you think? I know I'm way out of, we're going to get really, really friendly. What do you think are the most important things for someone who is new to social media, whether they're a student who's embarking on a career or making a career shift? What are important things for them to learn and know and stay relevant?
So I think having the foundation of understanding strategy. So having that objective set, social media is fun. And so, it's fun to create content, especially if you're a creative person. But if you don't have a goal and objective behind it, it falls flat.
Like you're not going to reach anybody because you're not speaking to anybody. So I think really having that foundation, but also being innovative. So looking at how different age groups and demographics are using social media and trying to stay ahead of that, staying one step ahead so that you don't fall behind, because it's changing. It changes so quickly. It changes every day. Crazy.
Yeah, shaking head in agreement here. So, strategy and the foundation is great, but the innovative stuff, the stuff that's constantly changing in platforms, that's the fun stuff. So, what's really fun right now in social media that you're having fun with?
Finding all of the trending TikTok sounds. It's interesting for me because, especially on TikTok, everyone's algorithm is so specific to them, depending how long they've been on there. So going out of my own algorithm to find what else is trending and what else is going on out there is really fun for me. It's fun to think of how I can use that sound in maybe a way people aren't using it, and maybe a way that they are, so I can continue that trend. And I'm on social media all the time, in personal time and in work time, so that's fun for me regardless, to learn about what other businesses are doing with their social media, to learn what I can do to emulate them or copy them even, and kind of come up with those ideas as well.
For those of us who aren't Gen Z, how do you get outside of your own algorithm to find those trending sounds? How do you fool the algorithm into showing you stuff that they wouldn't normally show you?
It's hard because if you stay on your home page, then you're not going to. But if you go to the friendly little search bar and search up hashtag trending, or see even what sounds are trending, clicking on those, looking at the videos for TikTok specifically, and seeing what trends other people are doing, what other businesses are doing, that kind of gets you out of your algorithm. Now those videos may come back to haunt you in your algorithm later now that you've looked at them. But not only that, but asking the people around you, since it is so specific, you have a different algorithm than I do, you have a different algorithm, we all do. So asking them, what's on your page? Even asking business owners, what's on your TikTok right now that we can look at and come up with for this project?
I love that. Now each of you, you're coming at social media from different perspectives. Chrissy, you came at it, you're not a digital native. You came at it later like the rest of us did, a lot of the people here. And you've used it in a few different professional contexts as well. Before you were a professor, you were using it in different ways. And now you are a digital native and presumably came to it personally first, and now you're learning how to use it professionally. So I would love to hear basically sort of what your focuses are, what they were and how they've changed, how they've shifted based on this perspective you're now in.
So, focuses, I think, when I first got on like Facebook, I think that was the first, no, that's not true, is MySpace, I think was the first social platform that I was on. It really was like, it was a novelty. That was, right after Web 2.0, kind of landed and became more mainstream, and it was really just to connect. Fast forward more than a decade, and now I use it. I used it for business, so there was strategy behind it, and the connection part, ironically, has not changed. I'm just connecting with different people, and I'm being more intentional about that. And it's still about building relationships. So I think at the core of that, while it may look different, before it was for fun, now it's for business. It's a little more intentional now. At the core, it's all about relationships.
I agree. It is, at the end of the day, all about building relationships from a business perspective and managing it for a business. It's about reaching out to your consumers, your community that's involved in your business, and making sure you're engaging with them and connecting with them. And as for platform-wise, like, using it personally is a lot different than using it for a business. You have to make sure you're targeting your audiences on said platforms and making sure you're on the main one that they're on. Whereas for my personal use, I'm on all of them. Like, I just scroll aimlessly on all of them.
Are you even on Facebook?
I am on Facebook.
Wow.
Facebook is actually one of my favorites. All of my friends are like, oh, I don't have Facebook anymore. But I love it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like an older person inside of me that loves to see what everyone else is doing. But I really enjoy Facebook. I like being in different groups. I like seeing what's going on. It's one of the only ways I figure out what is going on in my area so I can go out and make connections.
You say you're on all of the platforms. Are you in the Social Media Pulse community?
Oh.
I am not.
Will you be soon?
I would love to be in the Social Media Pulse community. I say all platforms. I'm visually looking at all of the platforms. I may not post on all of the platforms, but yeah, I'd love to.
That's an important thing to note as well. There are lurkers out there. All right, so each of you give a shout out to where you want people to find you or what you're involved with.
Go to wichita.edu/ShockStarter. You can learn a little bit more about me and all of my teammates and coworkers and hire me to help you out with your social media.
Wait, how can they find you though? Personal. You.
Find my LinkedIn, Becca Meyer, BECCAMEYER. You can find my Instagram, but it's private, so you'd have to be accepted.
Okay.
Her whole team is brilliant, by the way. Brilliant. I love them. You can find me at kbuck.ict, also on Facebook and LinkedIn at Chrissy S. Buck.
All right. Thank you both so much for joining us today, and I look forward to connecting with you on LinkedIn.
Yes,
Thanks.
All right.
Go grab your lunch.
hang out with you guys.
Thanks, Bunch.
All right, now we have not been able to really take a look so much at what people are saying online who have joined us, so I figure now is a good time just to check that out briefly. Jessica said, woo, woo. Jessica's here in the room with us, so that's great. Hey, Tim Zone. Hey, Juan. So this is great. We got some people who are just here to hang out. And let us know if you're here watching us, what channel you're watching us on. And yeah, also, let us know if you're part of the Social Media Pulse community. It is completely free. It's at socialmediapulse.community. Anyone can be a .com. Got to be very special to be .community. And that's got a few things going on. It has fabulous chats and discussions and mastermind groups and all of that, so you can really find your people. You can be in community with people. It's got a dazzling array of new articles and videos every single weekday. And it's the home of the Pulse Academy. Tell us about the Pulse Academy, Dr. Ruth Inman, Director of Pulse Academy.
So, Pulse Academy, yeah, my favorite part for obvious reasons. But there's, as Christy mentions, there's a lot of, I mean, every little corner and cranny of that community has something that you're going to find value in. I hope that you do find value in Pulse Academy. It's our online education hub. We have 7 courses that are platform specific at this time, building off of the legacy of Social Media Manager School. If you've been in the social media space for a while, you're probably familiar with Social Media Manager School. We're building off of that legacy, but I am so excited, Christine, because in the next few months, we're releasing some new courses, and we're going to diversify our content, everything from strategy, which Christy was talking about, all the way to personal branding and things like specific content creation skills like graphic design. I've got a course in the works with somebody about backpack journalism. So some really cool, innovative courses that you can take for free, and we're going to be adding certifications later in the year as well. Question for you. Great content every single weekday. Tell me about the breadth and depth of content that we have on Social Media Pulse.
That is ever evolving. So I'm actually moving into the new phase of it. For those who don't know, we just launched Social Media Pulse in March. So we are very new. So I'm now moving from the phase of what can I get? I wanted to make sure I kind of touched all bases, made sure to have stuff on there for about each of the major platforms, about different content types and all of that, as well as about building your own career including personal development, growing a business. We certainly have a place for, agency owners and things like that. So I just wanted to make sure I kind of hit everything. And now we're moving into the phase, now that we have, at last count, at over 1,300 members, I believe. Now that we actually have traction, we have a community in our community. Yeah, I want to take my strategic direction from the community, what the community is really interested in and going deeper in. A couple things that I've heard so far. People always want to know more about Facebook ads because Facebook Business Manager is such a whole darn thing. People also really want to know about analytics. People want the data and to know what's working. Very convenient because Social Media Pulse's parent company, Agorapulse, has just added their social ROI tool, which is amazing if you haven't checked it out yet. And so that's great. But beyond that, things like Google Analytics, especially the huge change of Google Analytics 4, I know nothing about that stuff, but here's the beautiful part about a community. I don't have to, because the beautiful thing about the Social Media Pulse community is we have contributions. All this content is from community members. We have well over 100 contributors who have already written articles that are up in the community about most things you can think of. And we're adding more all the time. If you have something that you would love to either write about yourself and teach people about, or even if you don't want to write it, you just want to know more about something, you're like, you know what, I haven't seen anything on this, and this is what I'm struggling with now, reach out to me. I'm Christine Gritman, Christine at agorapulse.com, and you can just tell me, and I will make it happen, because this community, ultimately, it's not here for what we feel like doing. We will use our judgment and our experience to make sure that what we give you is top quality, but it really is about what you need, what you want to see, and I'm really excited to now be moving into this next phase of the Social Media Pulse community where it really is responsive to your needs and wants.
Okay, is it weird that I got kind of goosebumps during that? For two reasons. The first one is that, we are half of the Social Media Pulse community team. Shout out to our other two teammates who aren't here. Paul Bradley, head of global community. He's repping at Social Media Day Philadelphia today. And our great community manager, Deb Mitchell. Everybody knows Deb because
she's a legend in the community space.
The epitome of community, right? So we're half the community team. The four of us, two of us are half the team. There's four of us total. Half of four is two.
She's a teacher, folks.
But we are representing an entire, not to overuse the word, that community of social media professionals who are, and this is the second reason I get the goosebumps, is that they're so generous with their knowledge and their expertise and that idea of helping other people. And we know a lot, but the community knows so much more. We know this much, People know so much, and they're so generous with their time and their talents. And if you have any kind of question, one thing we didn't talk about, we talked about content, we talked about courses, but those discussion forums and the masterminds, there is magic happening there every single day.
Absolutely. And also, you have your weekly office hours too with the academy. So tell us about that as well.
Yeah. So today, normally they happen on Thursdays. Today, in lieu of office hours, we're doing our fun live from Social Media Day ICT. But weekly. We have these courses. They're very structured courses that you're going to go through. You can pop around and find particular lessons that are of interest to you, or you can complete the whole thing in a very formal, structured way. But office hour is just what it is. We have different guests every week, and it's like that concept of an office hour with instructors, with experts. You can pop on. We are live every Thursday, kind of depending on where my guests are in the world. They happen at a different time, but we post it in the community on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. And it's just a great time to have a discussion and a deep dive into a particular topic. and it's one of the most fun times of my week.
Oh, I love that. All right, well, we need to go get our lunch and settle in for the afternoon sessions here at Social Media Day Wichita. But here's the beautiful thing. We're broadcasting this not only on all of Social Media Pulse's social channels. I believe Agora Pulse has it happening on at least one of their channels too. I'm sharing it on mine. And we're live in the community. There's an article on the Social Media Pulse community page that has this video in it. So wherever you are, wherever you're seeing this, leave your questions below if you want to know more about anything, if you want to be a contributor, if you'd like training on something, if you want to, whatever you want to do, hop on, comment, and also just make sure you're part of the community. socialmediapulse.community. Because as Ruth was saying, there's so much to know. We don't know everything. And they say that you can either go broad or go deep with your knowledge. You can either know a little bit about everything or you can know a lot about one thing. But the beauty in a community is you can go broad and deep because you have your broad network of people who go deep on their areas of expertise. And that's how you get the best of both worlds. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been Christine Gritman, Senior Editor of Social Media Pulse.
And Ruth Inman, Director of Education for Pulse Academy.
Thanks so much. Bye. Happy Social Media Day, everyone.